Hello class, let's talk about division of decimals. So before we proceed to our main topic, let me review the parts of the division. So 1.6 here is what we call the dividend. Okay, or the number that being divided. Here 8 is what we call the divisor, or the number that divides the dividend. And of course we have here the quotient, or the answer of the division. So again, remember that the answer of division is quotient. So again, we have dividend, divisor, and quotient. Okay, so now let's take the first example, 1.6 divided by 8. So as you can see, the dividend 1.6 is a decimal and the divisor is a whole number. So here, to divide a decimal by a whole number, write the decimal points in the quotient directly above the decimal points in the dividend and divide as usual. So here, the decimal points of 1.6 we're going to bring up here. We have the decimal point here. Now let's start dividing. So 1 divided by 8 is 0. And 0 times 8 is 0. Let's subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. Bring down 6. So we have now 16 divided by 8 is 2. 2 times 8 is 16. And let's subtract 0. We have the quotient 2. Okay. Let's have 11.6 divided by 4. So again, let's bring out the decimal points. Okay, now we have 11 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And let's subtract 11 minus 8 is 3. And bring down 6. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. And 9 times 4 is 36. So 36 minus 36 is 0. So we have the quotient 2.9. Now, what if the whole number is the dividend and the divisor is a decimal? And this time, we are dividing a whole number by a decimal. So, if the divisor is a decimal, we have to make it a whole number. How? By moving the decimal points to the right. So, let's say for example, 8.5 is a divisor and it's a decimal. So, here, 8.5 has only one decimal place. So, we have to move the decimal points to the right by ones. One only. Okay, so we have now 85. Of course, if you move the decimal points of the divisor, we're going to move also the decimal points of the whole number. But take note, it is a whole number, and automatically, or it is under automatically a whole number has a decimal points before the first digit. So the decimal points of the whole number is here, and we have to move also the decimal points to the right once. So here, decimal point is here. So we have to add 0. So we have now 5,100. So let's divide as usual. We have 51 is not enough to divide 85. Let's include 0. So 510 divided by 5 is 6. And 6 times 85 is 510. Let's subtract. 510 minus 510 is 0 and bring down 0. So we have 0 divided by 85 is 0, and 6 times 85 is 0 times 85 is 0. We have 0. So our quotient is 60. Okay, let's 610 divided by 25. Okay, again, before we divide, let's make the divisor a whole number by moving the decimal points to the right. So in this case, 0.25 has two decimal places. So 2 and 5 So meaning it has 2 decimal places. We have to move the decimal points twice. Or we're going to move the decimal points 2 times. So 1, 2. So our divisor is now 25. Of course, if you move the decimal points of the divisor, we will also move the decimal points of the whole number or the dividend twice also to the right side. So we have to move twice also. 1 and 2. So decimal point is here, so we have to add 2 zeros. We have now 61,000. Now let's divide. 6 is not enough to divide 25, so let's include 1. So 61 divided by 25 is 2. And 2 times, okay. So 2 times 25 is 50. Let's subtract. 61 minus 50 is 11. Okay, bring down 0. Now we have 110 divided by 25. So 110 divided by 25 is 4. And 4 times 25 is 100. Subtract 110 divided by minus 100 is 10. Then let's bring down 0. 100 divided by 25 is 4. And 4 times 25 is 100. And let's subtract 100 minus 100 is 0. Okay, and let's bring down another 0. So we have 0 divided by 25 is 0. And 0 times 25 is 0. So our answer, the quotient when we divide 610 divided by 0.25, the quotient is 2,440. Now, what if both dividend and divisors are decimals? So the same step like we did the first example. So 21.5 divided by 2.5. So before we divide, let's make the divisor a whole number. So 2.5, it has only one decimal place, so we have to move the decimal points once only to the right. So 1 here. We have now 25 divided by, okay, so let's move also the decimal points of the dividend to the right once only. Okay, we have here, so we have now 215. Okay, take note the decimal points is here. Okay, now let's divide. 21 is not enough to divide 25, so we have to include 5. So 215 divided by 25 is 8. And 8 times 25 is 200. Okay, let's subtract. 215 minus 200 is 15. Okay, now let's add 0 here in 215. And let's bring it down. So we have now 150 divided by 25 is 6. But don't forget to bring up the decimal points here. So 6 times 25 is 150. So we are 150 minus 150 is 0. So the quotient is 8.6. Okay, so that's how we divide decimals. Now, let's have a multiplication. No. Okay, can you disregard? Okay, let me edit first. So it must be division of decimals. Okay, let me edit first. It must be division of decimals. Okay, we have division of decimals. If we divide the decimals by 10, 100, or 1000, all we have to do is to move the decimal point to the left. Again, we are going to divide a decimal by 10, 100, and 1000. All we have to do is to divide, is to move the decimal points to the left. So for example, 46.5 divided by 10. So here, since 10 has only one zero, meaning to say we have to move the decimal points to the left once only, because 10 has only one zero. So here now 10 is between 4 and 6. 4 and 6. So of course, copy the remaining number 5. So 46.5 divided by 10, the answer is 4.65. Okay, let's have 46.5 divided by 100. So this time we're going to divide 46.5 divided by 100. So 100 has two zeros, meaning to say we're going to move the decimal points of 46.5 to the left twice. 1, 2. So the decimal points here is before 4, so we have to add 0. So the answer is 0.465 thousandths, or 0.465. Now, what if we divide 46.5 by 1000? Again, let's move the decimal points to the left. In this case, we have 3 zeros. Since 1000 has 3 zeros, we have to move the decimal points of 46.5 thrice. 1, 2, and 3. So mean to say there's a 0 here, and before 0 is a decimal point. Of course, we have to add another 0. So our answer is 0.0465, or 465 ten thousandths. Okay. So again, remember, when we divide decimals by 10, 100, or 1000, just move the decimal points to the left. Now, let's take this one. Okay, let me edit first. It must be division of decimal. So, division of decimal by 0.1, 0.1, 0.01, and 0.001. So to divide decimal by 0.1, 0.001, and 0.001, move the decimal points to the right as many places as there are in the divisor. So meaning we have to move the decimal points to the right as many places as there are in the divisor. Let's take for example 0.85 divided by 0.1. In this case, 0.1 has one decimal place only, meaning we're going to move the decimal points of 0.85 to the right once only. So now the decimal points is between 8 and 5, so we have 8.5. Now let's divide. What if we divide 0.85 by 0.01? Again, in this case, 0.01 has two decimal places. So mean to say we're going to move the decimal points of 0.85 to the right twice. 1, 2. So now our answer is 85. What if we divide 0.85 by 0.001? In this case, we have 3 decimal places, meaning we're going to move the decimal point thrice, okay, to the right. So let's move 1, 2, 3. So the decimal points here, meaning we have to add 0. So the answer is 850. Okay, that's how we divide a decimal by 0.1, 0.01, and 0.001. We don't need a long solution to find the right answer. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Hope you learned. Bye.